Hey folks, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about market news, clickbaity headlines, and net worth, what it's all about, what the hype is regarding net worth. We see billionaires gaining money, losing money left and right. We don't know what's going on. Let's take a deep dive and look into it. So if you pay attention to any type of financial news, you'll likely notice a ton of articles being written about billionaires and their net worth. Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, they're constantly in the headlines. Anytime there's a shift in the stock market, the market price of those specific companies, you'll see they've seemed to have gained another couple $1 billion overnight or have lost a couple $100 million. So what exactly is net worth and why should we care? Or maybe we shouldn't. The basic concept of net worth is a pretty easy one. There's some debate on the usefulness of the metric and how you can actually calculate it. But in layman's terms for you and I, it's the amount of assets you have subtracted from your liabilities. You get relatively your net worth. So for the ordinary individual, we're looking at assets such as savings accounts, investment accounts, retirement accounts, your home or any real estate you own, cars, any other expensive properties that you own, minus your liabilities. So any debts you have, student debt, car loans, mortgages, anything like that. You take those, plug it into the equation, and it's pretty easy. This is how much I'm worth. For most people, this number isn't going to change widely on a day-to-day basis unless you're close to retirement. You have a couple $1 million saved up in your retirement account. Yes, market fluctuations can cause a decent amount of loss for us, but it's not going to swing in the billions or the hundreds of millions for the everyday person. But when we talk about billionaires and how their net worths are calculated, same basic concept, but a lot harder. There's a lot of tax issues we have to deal with. How do we value their assets? For example, houses or real estate, or fine art, jewelry, collector's items, things like that aren't very liquid. How do we put a monetary amount of value on that? Obviously, stocks and bonds and equity can be calculated pretty easily, but there's even problems with that. So when Forbes publishes their list of how much certain individuals are worth, they actually have people do research, do interviews, look up financial statements, whatever information they can gather. Obviously, these are private individuals, so not all of their worth out there is public information. So it takes them quite a lot of time to come up with an estimate of how much these people are actually worth. So moving on to these financial headlines about the market, stock prices, and the net worth of billionaires. It seems like anytime there's a market crash or a stock crashes, we see XYZ has lost this much money. Back last year when Tesla stock wasn't doing so hot, Elon Musk lost $700 million in one day. Wow, that's crazy, his net worth through the drain. But recently, Tesla roaring back, all-time highs. Elon Musk gaining billions, his net worth up to almost $100 billion now. So just like a roller coaster, it goes up and down, but these articles come out every time there's a change. Same with Amazon, Jeff Bezos, richest man on the planet, arguably. I don't know, some people think Vladimir Putin might be, but it's hard to see exactly how much he's worth. But Jeff Bezos recently crossing the $200 billion mark, as a lot of his worth is tied up directly to the worth of Amazon stock. And that number will continue to fluctuate as the stock price fluctuates. So even these billionaires would think they have $200 billion, or that's what their assets are valued at. But for him, most of his money is in that stock. So we take out the stock, he's probably not actually worth that much. We include the stock, we include the crazy amount of volatility we've seen, the crazy comeback that Amazon has had throughout the past couple months. Billions and billion dollars have been gained by him, by the company, by the market. And that's why we've had these headlines. And also the market in general. Seems like billionaires have gained over $600 billion since we hit the all-time lows in the market, due to, once again, stock prices going up. If you own a lot of stock, you're going to get a lot more money. That's just how things work. But I want to talk about the effects that these headlines have and financial news in general, because I don't think these articles or headlines are very constructive in any sense. It's a good clickbaity title for the average reader, right? We'll see, oh, Elon Musk popular figure, Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates. We know these people. We know they're filthy rich. Let's see what happened today that they were able to gain millions of dollars in one day. Most of these articles are just a headline to talk about the company's stock price, and they'll just say, oh, Apple or Amazon or Tesla gained 5% today, and they'll go on to talk about analyst predictions with maybe some analysts being more bullish, more bearish, whatever the case may be. It doesn't actually offer much insight. Apart from when we have major company events, doesn't give you much insight just for the clickbaity title. I would really love to see more in-depth, insightful discussion, right? Well-researched, well thought out, rather than just slapping something together every time we see a 5% gain. And the market is so volatile right now, we'll even see updates in the tagline that says, yeah, this article has been updated to reflect the current stock price as of X, because it's changed so much since it was first published. So the next time you see these headlines, just realize it's entertaining, eye-catching, attention-grabbing, but not very meaningful at the end of the day. And if you're really looking for more market-based discussions and news, you might have to look elsewhere. And one more thing, let's move on to how net worth is calculated and think about the actual implications of this. We think about billionaires as being filthy rich, and a lot of them have a lot of money tied up into their respective company stocks. So a pretty commonly or widely held theory is that these assets aren't actually very liquid, in the sense that if I had $50,000 in my bank account, I can go to my bank tomorrow. I could probably take that money out, go buy a car, put that towards a house, and not have too much trouble doing that. But when someone has billions and billions of dollars in a company's stock, they're not going to be able to get rid of that, turn that into cash or more liquid assets on a short notice. They might have to go through regulatory approvals or notices, filings to be able to sell that stock. And also, if Jeff Bezos woke up tomorrow morning, decided he wanted to sell all of his stock and had the approval, we don't know what the effects it will have on the stock price. It might crash the price completely because we see a huge dump in the market, or it could raise the price if people think that this is a great opportunity to pick things up. When someone's selling, on the other side, there's always a buyer. So once again, the net worth figure, the attention-grabbing number, is pretty meaningless and useless. And I'd say it's actually harmful towards the average person just trying to read about the news and look at what's going on, because it doesn't offer any insight, and it gives us an unrealistic view and picture of billionaires. Yes, the wealth income inequality gap is real between the richest of the rich and the poorest of the poor, but this paints an unrealistic picture of how much money these people actually have. Once we get past a couple $1 million, it's really hard to think about what exactly $200 billion is. It's hard to visualize or think about even having that much money. And added on top of that, all this meaningless news and articles about stock price movements isn't very helpful. These articles just equate to market trends, and they may as well just talk about the individual company without having that clickbait title, but I know it's used to draw in attention very clearly. It gets the clicks, drives the traffic, so I understand why it's needed. You know, I always like to bring it back to personal finance, some tips and tricks. Don't want to end up just ranting about net worth values for 20 minutes. Personal finance consideration, it's true we're never going to have billions of dollars of gains or losses, but if we invest consistently, invest often, we save up our money, you can be a millionaire by retirement. It's not the hardest thing in the world. For some people, it might be a struggle to get up and going, but once you have a job, have an income, have savings, just building towards that retirement nest egg, it should be very possible. And once you've been saving for 10 or 20 or 30 years, you'll also be able to reap the rewards of the market gains. I always try to warn people that past performance does not indicate future returns at all. So no one's guaranteeing that the market will always go up. But from history, as far as we know, things do tend to go up over time. Although the equation looks a little bit different for the average person, we can still be millionaires. We can still gain off of the market just as these companies and these CEOs are gaining from their companies performing well. I like to say if you can't beat them, just join them. Join them at their own game. Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, they all have an incentive to push their companies to be more profitable, to make more money, to return value to the shareholders so their companies become more valuable. They personally have a vested interest in that stock price going up and up and up. So if we believe in these companies, if we want a piece of the action, invest in an index fund or a couple stocks that you can pay attention to, keep track of, and see those gains over time. We see people back in March, April buying stocks back when Tesla was $400 to $500 who held through now $2,000. That's a pretty good investment, pretty good chunk of change. Might have come away with a couple thousand, tens of thousands of dollars for yourself there, as Elon might be making billions. We'll take what we can get, right? So this video was just a quick observation on a ton of these articles that we see, and it seems like financial news especially, it's a rinse and repeat formula. We see stock prices move. We look at the richest person associated with it. Warren Buffett's also another big name. Oh yeah, we'll just slap this title on. Doesn't actually mean anything. Same with market drops or market gains. It's either yes, coronavirus optimism, no, coronavirus fears. Anytime the market swings in any direction until things sort of settle down, which they probably won't, at least until after the elections in the United States or after the new year, after the new president. I'm sure savvy investors, people passionate about personal finance, see these articles, read them as well. They are entertaining, but just a couple thoughts that I had about the subject. If you liked the video, be sure to hit that like button, like the channel, hit that subscribe button as well with the notification icon to be notified of all new uploads. I do really appreciate the support. That's all I have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Peace out.